Hey everybody, I'm Tiffany Weber and I am a real estate attorney at Thomas & Weber in Mooresville, North Carolina. Today we are going to talk about the difference in closing on a new construction home versus a pre-existing home. The good news is that most of the legal process involved in the two is very similar, but the biggest differences arise in your due diligence process. So during your investigation or due diligence period when you're buying a new construction home, typically you're starting by identifying the lot that you want to buy. So you're going to find a lot and think, this is the perfect place. I want to build my 5-bedroom house on this. I'm going to live here forever. But then you find out you can't have your 5-bedroom house for whatever reason. And usually that reason is septic. So in North Carolina, the septic permit tells you how many bedrooms you're allowed to have for your home. If you get a septic permit for a 3-bedroom home, that means you cannot build a house that would overburden the septic. We'll see a lot of times that someone will have a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom permitted home and then they'll be advertising it as 5 bedrooms. Well, that's not accurate. So that's a really important thing that you're gonna have to make sure that when you find a lot that you want to build on, that it will perk. That's the term that the septic inspectors use, that it will perk for the number of bedrooms that you want to have in your home. The next thing that you're gonna wanna check out is the restrictions for the property. Even if you're buying in a neighborhood that doesn't have an HOA, or even if you're out in what you call the country and you think there are going to be no rules, you can do whatever you want, that may not be the case. There are going to be restrictions on the property in most cases. So that will tell you what kind of home you can put on the property. So there may be a restriction against mobile homes, or there may be a size limit. So you can't build more than a certain size home, or you must have at least a certain size home. A personal example, several years ago, my husband and I were looking at lots we thought maybe we wanted to build on. We found this lot that was great, but we had a certain budget in mind. And when we looked at the restrictions, we saw, oh, we have to build a 4,000 square foot house on this lot, and that is way out of our price range. That's not going to work for us. So we had to pass on that lot. So that's something that you have to consider to make sure that you're meeting all of the restrictions. There could also be restrictions that say what type of materials you can use. You may only be able to use brick and you didn't want to use brick, or vice versa. You may not be able to use a certain type of stone when you really had your heart set on it. So that's something that you have to consider. And you'll also have to look at the restrictions and the zoning to determine the setbacks that you have to meet. For example, if you want to put your house pretty close to the road, probably not going to be able to. There's going to be a setback, meaning you cannot build within that buffer. You can't be that close to the edge of the lot. And if you're on Lake Norman, then you're going to have a 50-foot setback from the 760 line. So you can't build a house or any structure within that buffer. Now let's talk about the difference in the loan. Depending on the phase of construction you're in, let's say you bought a lot and you're going to build on it, then this is where things can get slightly different in the closing process at the attorney's office or with the lender. You're going to likely need a construction loan unless you're paying cash. And if you're financing the construction loan is just a little bit different than a loan that you would get for a pre-existing house. It's for a shorter term, and a lot of lenders will offer this one-time close product, meaning that you'll go and sign all of the documents for your construction loan. You have to finish the house within a year, and then your loan will convert to your permanent financing. That's not always the case. So you may sign your construction loan, and once construction is complete, you have to sign again. So you redo the whole process of your loan to make it into your permanent financing. So you'll have to ask your lender which one you're doing. And if you have to sign again, then you'll go to the attorney's office again and sign your permanent financing. If it's just a one-time close, you'll only see me one time. That's what you're going to look at when you're buying a new construction or you're planning to build a custom home. Of course, there are more things, but those are the biggest ones that come up. And if you're buying a house that's already been built, you're still going to look at your septic permits. You're still going to look at the restrictions. You're still going to look at the setbacks, but it's just for a different purpose now. For example, restrictions are going to tell you if there are certain pets you can or cannot have. If you really want chickens and you're living in a residential neighborhood, probably not going to be allowed to do that. If you want to build an outbuilding, you'll have to see whether you need special permission to do that. And as far as setbacks go, you're going to be checking to make sure that nothing on the property, whether it's the house or any outbuildings, violate those setbacks. So yes, you're looking at the same things that someone that's building a house would look at, but just for different purposes. So that's kind of where those paths diverge. And as far as closing goes, you're going to be typically signing a conventional loan or an FHA loan, and those documents are a little less onerous than the construction loan package because they don't have any construction loan agreements or anything like that. It's kind of your run-of-the-mill closing, and your attorney is going to explain all the documents to you regardless of which type of closing you have. What you're going to find is that the closings for a new construction and a pre-existing home are more similar than they are different. There are a few things that you have to look out for depending on which type of home you're buying, but it is not that complicated. You're definitely going to have people on your team that will help you understand the process, including your closing attorney. Hopefully that is me if you're in Mooresville. Again, I'm Tiffany Weber. I'm a real estate attorney at Thomas & Weber in Mooresville, North Carolina, and I'll see you in the next video.